Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and tonight we are reviewing a 8 episode, I can call it a mini series, television series called The Flight Attendant, and boy it was a ride. The only reason why I decided to check out there were two reasons why I decided to check it out. One is because I saw the trailer, and the second and most important reason is because it stars Kaley Cuoco. I think that's how you pronounce her last name, Cuoco. I absolutely love her, so I thought I'll give this show a shot. I did like the trailer and therefore decided to try and watch all 8 episodes. I was hooked by the second episode. I was kind of hooked into it. I watched the first and second episode on Tuesday night, and then third, fourth, and fifth I watched on Wednesday night, and on Thursday I watched all the remaining episodes. So it is on HBO Max, and it has a second season. So yippee, we get more madness, and this is a little bit of a madness, if I may tell you. Excuse me, I had the hiccups. So Kaley Cuoco plays the flight attendant in question, and we have a really good cast of Michelle French Husman, that's how I'm going to say it. Zosa Marmet, Rosie Perez, T.R. Knight, Michelle Gomez, Colin Woodell, Merle Grandridge, who I absolutely adore as well. And we also have Terry Serpico, who plays, he's more of a supporting character role, but yeah, he's in there as well. So basically it's about this drunk hot mess of a woman called Cassie Bowden, who's played by Kaley Cuoco. She's a flight attendant on, I forgot the airline, forget the airline. So she plays this flight attendant. She drinks a lot, she parties a lot, she sleeps with whichever guy has kind of holds her fancy. She appears to have a few relationships here and there, and perhaps there are a couple of people who actually is really fond of her, but she seems to not be a really good friend as well. But she is very popular, is what I can say, and she's reckless. On a flight to Bangkok, she strikes a flirty friendship with a guy who sits on 3C, and in fact that's what they call him in the first class. Played by Michelle Huseman, he plays Alex Sokolov, a wealthy businessman. They hit it off, and it's very apparent that he wants to see her. In Bangkok, she ditches the rest of her crew members and wants to go out on her own, but she meets Alex, and they strike up a very big friendship. They already have this chemistry, so it's kind of like they're almost lovers, and they spend a night out. They have sex, they drink a lot. She wakes up in the morning and finds him dead on the bed, with his throat slashed and covered in the sheets are covered with his blood. She decides not to tell anybody. She leaves and goes back on the flight. However, when the plane lands, she is caught by the FBI because the hotel staff did find the dead body, and by the roommate, somebody had called for him, and because he was not answering, they did wake him up, and by the time the flight lands, the FBI has already got some of the details. So they decide to question the cabin crew, and they find out that Cassie is actually had a kind of like a flirting thing with him, so they question her. They do find that she's holding back something, and then begins a big ride of a mess, lies, sex, lots and lots and lots of questionable decisions, lots and lots of drinking. There seems to be somebody out to try and kill her, people who stand in the way of the killer and getting the secret. And the secret basically is there's $20 million at stake. The key to where that is written on a book in code by Alex Sokolov, and that's the reason why they want to get it. And it is a hot mess. It is very, very entertaining, if I do say so. I wasn't very sure in the first episode. I was interested, but I wasn't thinking, okay, where's this gonna go? But by the time the second episode ended, I was completely hooked, and I tell you, it's actually worth it. It is, a powerhouse acting, I would say. I must also say that this is also the kind of character who I would actually hate to have in my life, even if she's just a friend, because she makes a lot of questionable decisions. She seems to want to do party. Her answer for everything is go and drink and flirt and have sex, kind of thing. I mean, and she does seem to have attract a lot of people. So that's it. So there's a friend of hers in Italy, and there's a who seems to like her, but he doesn't really get much with her. There's a new guy who she meets in a bar in New York City, and she has a few flings with him, and all those kind of stuff. So I don't want to spoil anything as to how they find out. There seems to be somebody who's behind her. The FBI also keeps a tail on her, and there's somebody who mysterious lady who seems to be out to have killed Alex, and perhaps is also en route to kill her as well as anybody else that Cassie, who's happens to meet and is connected to Cassie. So there's a lot of mystery involved in it. So there's this family of Alex Sokolov who don't seem to be that upset about the fact that he's dead either. So there's a lot of things. There's also a side plot going on. There's a couple of side plots going on. One is Rosie Perez's character. Trying to look up the name, Megan Briscoe, who seems to have entangled herself with North Koreans, a North Korean mob kind of situation in New York, and she might have gotten herself and her husband in trouble as well. It's completely she was completely innocent, but she didn't realize what she was doing, and she thought nobody's going to find out and all those things. So that is a secondary thing as well. Yeah. So okay, there are a couple of standards. So Rosie Perez's character is a standard character. There's this Zosia Mamet, who she kind of seems very familiar, but when I was going through her filmography, I don't think I've actually seen her in anything. And she's a pretty standard character. She plays like Cassie Bowden's best friend, a lawyer, and who is hired. Basically, she's going to be her lawyer in eventuality of something going wrong. She being suspect for killing Alex Sokolov, and the back and forth between these two characters is amazing. It is fun. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I found myself really liking this actress as well, because I've never seen her, or I don't think I've seen her in anything else before. I don't even know how to pronounce her first name. Zosia, maybe that's how you pronounce it. I have seen her, but I think she played maybe the daughter of the character Tara in United States of Tara. She's been on Mad Men, but I've never seen Mad Men. And anything else? She's been in a few movies, but I've never seen any of these movies. And yeah, so I guess the show United States of Tara, which I've watched a while back, and that is the only one that I kind of remember. I don't really remember her character. I don't remember having seen her at all. But she is a standout in this show. I think, along with Kaley, I think she does really a fantastic job. So there's a couple of other characters who, they do get a little bit to shine. Merle Dandridge, who I've adored for a while. She's also plays an FBI agent who has her suspicions about Cassie, but in the end she's on the right track. She knows there's something else going on, and the guy who plays Max, I think he was pretty well. He's not seen in the main cast. He is Dennis. Oh my goodness, Dennis Agdenis. That's his name. Denise Agdenis or something. It's not an English name. Sorry, I ran out of space again and I had to do some arrangements. But yeah, like I was mentioning, I've never seen that particular actor in anything else as well. but I think he's got a lot of chemistry with Zosia Mamet's character. He plays her boyfriend, and yeah, it's pretty good. Very very surprising to see BB Newworth. If you have seen Cheers, excuse me, again the hiccups. Or I can say it's actually more like burps because I did drink a Pepsi earlier, a Coke, sorry, earlier. BB Newworth, she has a very small role in it. She's like a blink and you would miss her. Um, if you're a Cheers and Fraser fan, you would know her as Lilith, the ex. Initially in Cheers, I think he's married to her. I have never really seen Cheers. I've just seen a few episodes here and there. But I'm a big fan of the show Frasier, and she plays his ex-wife Lilith, they've got a son together as well. So I was really surprised to see her as well in this. So, but it's a very tiny role. So yeah. So anyway, overall, there's a lot of things in this which it's kind of like explained as her mind is very very active because of she does suffer a little bit of trauma, and a therapist could actually have a field day with going through the things in her mind. But the character that she plays, Cassie, she's actually had a terrible thing happen to her during her childhood. They don't really show too much of it until towards the end, and then we understand why her character is the way that she is, kind of, and why she's a drunk. And so I guess a lot because of that, every time there's a situation, it seems like she retreats into her mind, and we can see what's happening in her mind. Her talking to the dead guy who she also seems to be falling in love with, and that's a little bit crazy. But yeah, so that plays a lot into it. So anytime we are seeing her mind basically, go a little haywire when she's a little bit stressed, questionable things happening, you actually get to see what's in her mind. So I think that it irritates me. At the same time, it also fascinates me quite a bit as to how well they've done it. The thing is, they do it quite often, and that is something which I didn't really like at all. Overall, I think this is a very interesting, and there's a lot of swearing, there's a lot of drinking happening. So I wouldn't advise children to watch this show at all. But overall, and I stopped being a kid long back. Yeah. So overall, I think I would give the show, for what it is, I think I'll give it an A. I mean, because it is pretty entertaining. I think I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I wasn't expecting much to go ahead to go along with it. Sorry, to go in the beginning, and I was really surprised as to how much I liked it. And I think because of that factor, and then it's just a show about a crime kind of. It could be like an Agatha Christie novel, or maybe a Sidney Sheldon novel, because there's a lot of swearing happening. And Agatha Christie novels, you don't really get to see a lot of F words. But yeah, I think I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty interesting, and now that I just read it that they've actually renewed the show for season 2. I think I might really enjoy it. So if you haven't seen it, I would suggest that you watch it and enjoy it, because it's a real fun thrill ride. Take care, guys. Have a good night.